Welcome to Colorflow Conversations, where we flow freely, speak boldly, and connect colorfully. I am Keisha, and this is
Takesha.
And you are very colorfully today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I like it.
Thank you.
Usually I'll be matching you, but I feel like I was off track today with that.
Welcome to our girl chat.
Oh, yes, girl chat. Welcome to our girl chat, where we may talk about something and you may be like, oh, did they just say that?
Right. Right.
Listen, I always say listen when I get ready to start talking.
You do.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's funny because I was reading a post and it was talking about like some of the things that people say and like was on there. And the guy was just like, I do not want to date a girl who says like
every other minute.
If she's sprinkling parsley on. And I started cracking up because I was like, oh, well, he ain't mine.
You think you say like a lot?
Oh, I say like all the time.
Maybe I don't pay attention to it because I hear it all the time from you then, because I don't, but I only say listen when we're talking. I don't do it like, do I do it in a regular conversation?
Yeah.
I do?
Yeah, but we be talking in regular conversation. This really is no difference. It's just we letting the whole universe in on it.
That's why I was wondering, like, do I say listen?
You would be like, listen.
Oh, yeah, that do sound like me. Yeah, I do.
And I listen.
When I say listen, tune in, because I'm about to say something. But yeah, that's funny. That's funny that he said he don't want to date. It's funny how people be having their preferences on what they will or will not accept. Do you know? Okay, so you know Beyoncé did her first concert, Cowboy Carter, and I watched it, of course, on TikTok, parts of it. And this morning I saw a post with a guy who was saying, you know, if people don't like Beyonce, especially Black people, you know, we always meet somebody who be like, I don't like her. Then they don't love themselves. He was like, because she's uplifted. And then I thought about this guy that I dated that absolutely could not stand Beyonce. He told me that he previously stopped talking to somebody because they were such a big fan of her. And I looked at him and I should have known something then, because he went on and on about how he couldn't stand her. And it made me think this morning about the guy who said, I mean, she uplifts, she encourages, she inspires, she, you know, does things for our people. And for people to just be like, you cannot be a big fan. But for those people who just be like, I can't stand her, I hate her. He was like, you don't love yourself. Something's wrong with you. I said,
I never thought about it to that extreme, but I don't understand the people who hate Beyonce.
I don't have any artists that I hate, even if I'm not a big fan.
I don't have any artists, celebrities, none of that. And I'm going to put this out here too, because I used to be big on the Kardashians and they are hated big time.
Yeah, they are.
But
they are.
Let my family get an opportunity. I'm putting everybody on. I'm doing nail polish, makeup. I'm doing everything I possibly can.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I get how they set it up as a business. I think I was more of a fan when they were younger than I am now as they getting older and
I definitely, like when it first started, like I probably watched several seasons, and then when they did like their little spinoff with Chloe and Courtney, I used to watch all of that.
Yeah.
I don't follow them now.
Yeah, me
I
either.
don't follow any celebrities, honestly. One. Okay, let's be clear. But other than that, I don't. But I did used to be like a fangirl, and I get it when, you know, how people feel a kind of way, but I also think too that that's your own insecurity and jealousy arises.
And that's what he said. He was like, envy and jealousy. He said,
because it shows in all different forms.
Yeah, like how could you not respect, even if you don't like the music? How could you not respect what someone is doing?
So much respect, and I admire her because she hears all of the things that's said about her.
Yes.
And when she brings her visuals in the concerts, or she says certain things in her music, like Beyonce is my favorite rapper.
Absolutely. She's amazing. I wish that one of these acts was
Yes,
a rap album. Yeah, so she
yes.
can
Like
act.
she's my favorite rapper.
Not only that, not only does she know what people say
And
about
she
her,
don't
and
be
she handles it
petty
with
about
grace and
yes.
handle it with grace.
Yes.
She is now doing something that I respect more than anything. Is she is raising her children, specifically her oldest daughter, to hear what people are saying about you and gracefully, prove them wrong.
Yes.
Gracefully, be who you are no matter what. And that little girl at 13 years old, to me, shows so much more maturity than a lot of adults with that. And that's something that I try to do with
Yes,
my
because I
children.
be like everybody else that's in the beehive, like Blue is the manager.
She absolutely, and you see it. You can see like
Yes. She for sure is the oldest daughter.
she and I thought about that when I watched her performance from this past week. Have you seen
Oh
that?
yeah, I've seen it.
And I thought about that oldest
Yeah,
daughter because
she's
we
the
talked
oldest
about that.
daughter.
I said she
She's played
definitely
that
has
role
that
because
oldest daughter
you
spirit.
even mother your parents.
She
Just like
mothered.
at the concert, at the
Her daughter.
awards. Like Beyonce, if you don't go get your award, what is you doing?
She mothered her mother
and her sister. Yes.
I felt that all over them.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, she's the oldest daughter.
And I think she's learning how to handle that eldest daughter gracefully in a way that's probably not always taught.
Mm-hmm.
So where she don't spiral out. She probably spiral out behind closed doors, but her mother is probably teaching her as the oldest daughter herself how to, handle these situations. And I was just like, I get it, sir, when you said that. I get it because, she creating jobs.
Yes. Yes.
She's giving opportunities. And I'm like, that's something that I aspire to. I teach my kids how to get money. I teach my son how to get money, how to make money. I don't have it to give to you, but I'm gonna show you how to get it. And I think that
see, I'm raising a nepo baby. Go on, sit down, Prince. I got you.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
But different eras.
It's
too.
Different eras, yeah. It's very different eras.
Different eras.
Yeah, I mean, your son is about to be 30. Mine just now about to be, 19.
And I wanted to be a nepo baby.
You did.
I'm doing everything. Everything that I've created, I realize the older I get is I created a lifestyle that I wanted to live for my son.
But there's different levels of nepotism for nepo babies.
It is.
Because Blue Ivy definitely is a nepo baby, but she got to work for this position that she is being given.
Yes, there's others we won't name, but
that just give it to them. Just give it to them. So,
I'm probably in the middle.
Yeah. I would like to say in the church world, I probably was a nepo baby. You know what I'm saying? I didn't work.
When did you? Yeah, I was about to ask you that. When did you first get your? See how quickly the conversation shifts. But when did you first start working?
After high school.
Really?
And I only really started working because I was never told you gotta get a job. I got a job because my sister, who was the eldest daughter, always worked. She was doing nails at home. My mama built her a little nail room in the. You remember that nail room?
Yeah, she used to do my nails. I wish you still would.
So she did that, and I saw her work throughout. And I think she was doing this in high school. She always had other jobs too, and she played for the church. So I was nepo, but I didn't work during high school. I wanted my hair done. They was giving me the money to do whatever I needed to do. So once I graduated, then I was like, I'm going to find a job because it just seemed like, she worked, so I'm work too. So I got a job at the mall. The only time I was told that I had to get a job was when I decided that I didn't want to go to college. Because at first I went to...
Let me tell you about us black folks.
Yeah.
We don't play
about that. So when I started off going to school and realized I don't like it. I'm a creative and I don't know what I want to do. And I went to them and told them, like, I don't want to waste y'all money. So, that's when it was like, okay, well, you got to work. You got to figure it out while you got to work while you figure it out. So that's when I started like really working. But no, I didn't want for anything. I feel like I was a nepo baby in the church world because I didn't want for anything. I got pretty much everything I wanted, needed, and I didn't ask for a lot of. I don't think I asked for a lot of stuff. I just, but yeah, I was probably a nepo baby. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely
You
grew
was the
up.
blue ivy in your family though.
Yes.
Because they gave you everything, but you still had to work.
That is hilarious. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Because I did not want for anything. Everything that I wanted, I got. But I still had to work. So when I was in 11th grade is when I got my first job.
Yeah. So yeah.
When I got my license, I got a car, but it was instilled while I was working that I had to pay a certain amount of money for the car.
Absolutely. You were the blue ivy, so you got everything you wanted and you had expensive things and had everything you wanted, but still they made you work for
for whatever reason.
And not that you working was covering a whole lot, but it gave you you got to work for it,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you were the blue ivy.
And I have been working ever since. And I realized that I think that that's why I am tired and where I'm at now, where I always be like, no, he got to have some man. He got to have some man. He got to have some money. I think that's why I be like that, because when I was just like, when you do the math, I'm like, that's 34 years. I'm supposed to be retired now.
Yeah.
Because I started so early.
Yeah, you started early. I didn't start early like that.
And then I became a mom.
Yeah, you became a mom. You became a mom around the time I started working.
Yeah, so it was just like my really level of responsibilities and leveling up my life changed, because that was the one thing that I never wanted my son to have, that struggle story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, my mom was a single mom. She had to work 2 jobs, and I didn't want that because I didn't have that story. So I wanted him to have the same life, but better, as most parents do, good parents. I really wanted that for him. I probably was a bit extreme, and this is, what do they call it? It's not stereotypes. What is it called when you treat the boys different than the girls?
Oh, hypocritical.
It's a word where I can't call it right now, but that is most definitely what I do. Because if Jordan was a girl, it would be like I raised a little princess. But since he's, the man, and I did, in high school, he worked, and then.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember Jordan having a job in high school. What did he do?
Okay. Maybe it was senior year.
I was about to say, like, girl, that boy did not have no job all through high school.
Yeah, maybe it was senior year. But then I remember he came home one day and he was just like, they made him mad.
And he quit. And
that's been his
MO
ever since then. And a part of me struggles with that, but a part of me, like, now that I know neurotypical versus being neurodivergent, and just dealing with sometimes authority and at jobs, where sometimes these jobs have expectations that it's just like, you wouldn't even do that. You know what I'm saying? So I view it a lot differently now. And like you said, as being a creative, there's just certain things that you just don't want to do.
And
because if I could sit at home and write and critique movies from a spiritual level and all of that, like, and generate a substantial income, I would do that.
The thing about you, that word substantial though,
because that's the word.
That's the word for you because you're used to that.
Yes, because I've created, like, I was born into, on our level of luxury lifestyle. Like, I was in 8th grade when I got my first Gucci purse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now it's just like, that never left me. It's not as bad as it was, but I'm waiting on a delivery today. So it's a little bit tame, but it's still in me. So that's why I have to use the word substantial, because I mean, like,
but like not the word real.
and I've accumulated debt, which I've shared on here
Yeah.
before. So
I think that I don't use the word substantial because of being a creative and doing it for so long. You know how it can be up and
up and
down.
down.
And I live a full, abundant life and I have everything I need, but I've never used the word substantial because there's been times when it wasn't a lot of times where it wasn't, and I still was okay. So I think that getting out of that 9 to 5, if you want to, not that you have to remove the word substantial, but you might have to do something different.
And I think substantial looks different for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Because my substantial is substantial.
I've told you before, though. I told you before that your broke is not.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
We
broke
hate
as
to use
was.
regular people, but
Yeah, I was, like,
because $50,000 a year to me is broke.
Yes, absolutely,
Like, what are you eating?
Not to offend anybody.
I'm not trying to offend anybody. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
So, sir, if you're the $50,000 man, I'm not the girl.
You're gonna have to keep.
I'm like the guy who don't want the girl who say like.
And me, I while I do believe that it's very low, I believe that somebody can figure out how to live with that amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And live comfortably with that amount of money. If they live within being
and
a good
everything
steward.
is like being a good steward and living within your means. I've never lived within my means.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My means have always caught up with how I wanted to live. You know what I'm saying? To a certain degree, because I mean, next year I'll been here 20 years at my home, and I'm like, I love my house, but this ain't where I picture my end all be all. Like, I'm still waiting to look at the lake in the backyard.
Yeah.
Whereas my goals, I feel like, have always been one step further, if that makes sense. Where I know some people who's just like, if I can just get in your house, they would be comfortable and that would be good. Like, Takesha, you have a nice house. And I'm not saying that I don't. And I don't come from a place where I'm not grateful. I just always like luxury stuff and I just blame my parents. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't been on of course, the celebrity Beyoncé level, but in our middle class status, this is just.
But and what's funny about that, when we talk about the middle class nepotism, I can remember being the PK kid and people not liking me or my sister because they thought that we were the spoiled kids and had everything. Family included.
Oh,
so that was very hard. That was very hard to deal with because I was thinking in my mind, y'all don't even know what we deal with behind the scenes of this. A lot came with being that nepo little baby. A lot come with that. A lot of pressure come with that, depending on no matter what level you're on. So
because the thing is, your less is always somebody's more. Always. No matter what point you are in life, there's always a more out there.
Always.
And like you started out, envy and jealousy is a real thing. And what I realized with me is that, and I told my sister, I believe the other day, that I've always been driven by competition. So being raised to do the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we briefed on this last week. I don't know if it was on a podcast or off, where it was just like my parents like, oh, you got that? Okay, well, why didn't you get?
It was podcast because I was saying that's how I am with my son. When he do well on something, I'd be like, that was good, but next time you could do this. And he, and you
would strive
yeah, you
for
would
that.
strive for that. And he'll look at me like you a hater and keep on.
Yes. So I've
So, yeah.
always been in that mode to strive for that. And just think of like, you know, with us going to the Christian high school where
Yeah.
everybody, it made you want to do better because it was a
absolutely.
different atmosphere.
I told everybody to this day when they asked me what high school I went to, and I tell them, and I said it was the best thing they could have ever done, because I don't know if I ever told you about my middle school days.
Yeah, we had an episode where we talked about that, and I did not know that about you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I was always a people pleaser, even with friends. So they say let's do this, I was going to do it. But when they made the decision to put me in that private school, the entire atmosphere changed for me, and I wanted to do better because everybody was doing well. Like everybody in that school did something. I can't think of somebody right now, even the ones that's probably in jail. They were smart as heck.
Yes.
Straight smart. I can't think of somebody who in that school now that I just be thinking they were so dumb.
Yeah. So me always being in that environment, coming home to my parents who just want me to be the best.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like always for me, I'm always been striving for more.
Yeah. Yeah. Girl, it's so crazy how everybody's lives are different and the same.
Yes.
When it comes to things like that. And it still shapes who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether, not that it's good or bad, it just shapes who you are. Because of that, you use the word substantial.
Yes.
Like, he needs to have a substantial amount of money. Me, I don't want him to be broke.
Of course. Let's just be real. Okay? Let's just have some real talk right now. What woman out there just really want a broke Negro?
But wait a minute. It's a lot of, and we talking women because we women. It's our girl talking. And if you're a man watching this, oh well. But there's a lot of women that carry men.
Oh, I've done
but I'm
similar activities.
Same. And will do it for years. For years. Whether she's tired of it or not, she's gonna keep doing it. And after a while, you get so comfortable in doing that you scared to do something different.
But I'm gonna say this: it takes me back to the beginning of the conversation for the people who don't hate the Beyonce, for the people who hate the Beyoncés, for the women who are in situations like that. There's something internal.
Yes, I mean,
there's something internal, and I'm not just saying it from a financial aspect, because I know that there's 50-50 women out there.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer. You know what I'm saying? If you cool with that, that works for you. But if you're not cool with it and you're settling for it, and if you're in a relationship where you're doing more, 80-20, something ain't right. I can handle a 50-50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Across the board.
Not that you want to,
right?
But
yeah. I can handle that because.
But you know what
and
I believe it is?
Just bigger than finances too overall, because we be doing way too much.
I think that's where I know kind of what I sent you was texting about yesterday. The healed part of me is not even attracted to like men like that no more, because I had to heal from that. And that's a part of a woman that's not healed, when she accepts crumbs, and not financial crumbs. I'm talking crumbs across the board.
Right, because my thing is, as a woman, and we're mostly working women, educated.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily even mean with degrees, because we just smart.
Just smart.
You know, and then we are parents. So it's just like you have to take care of the children, whether it's doctor's appointment, after school, curricular activities, nurturing them. You running the household, taking care of making sure the house is together, whatever work needs to be done, cleaning the house, making sure everybody is fed. I saw a TikTok and she was just like, she just realized in the story about the three bears on why the mother's food was like it was. Yes.
She was feeding everybody else.
Yes, she was feeding everybody else's first. That's why. So it's just like, at what point as a woman are you doing all of these things and you are not okay on the inside, but you're still doing it for the sake of
the relationship?
I
have a man, or I have this man.
Yes.
And this word is used very loosely during these times now, knowing your worth. And I don't believe a lot of people even know what their worth is. Like, honestly, what erase a man or anything from your situation or whatever. What is it that you feel you're worthy of? Because over the last couple of weeks, and I'll share a few things with you, I've witnessed women around me accepting crumbs that I know they deserve better. And they have to see it though, and they have to know that I can do so much better for myself, and not just relationship wise, just better, period. But when you're accepting the crumbs of someone that don't, because they're not going to give you better if you don't feel better for yourself.
Saying of you treat people how
to treat you.
I really believe that that's true, because it's pretty much not having any boundaries.
Yeah.
Because if I stop that dead on, I'm not allowing you to keep treating me that way. I'm standing firm on my boundaries.
And as I've learned, because that's like a journey too, how to stand on your boundaries. As I've learned how to stand on my boundaries, my eyes open so much more to see the crumbs of others, and I'll be like, oh, that used to be me. That used to be me. Like, oh wow, I used to accept crumbs and be trying to compromise the crumbs.
Yes.
Compromise the crumbs, like, because I wanted this so bad. Like, what? I would not. That's why on day one, when I was cheated on, I was out the door. Because not just, it was such a bad situation. You didn't even like me. You didn't like me enough to even respect me enough to think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to start taking them baby steps to know, man, and a lot of these men don't like us.
Yeah. We be liking them.
We be liking them.
Or we like the ideal
of them.
Or the fairy tale that we painted in the future version of them that may not ever exist. Ever. Or I'm going to tell you this too, which I don't know if women want to realize this. Sometimes we know where there's other parties involved, we work harder
to try and win them. Why? I'm so sorry. I just and I know there is, my nephew, I went to hear him preach last Sunday. He really preached really good about restoration. And his message in that really hit me, because I do feel like people can restore relationships when because nobody's perfect.
Yeah, but let me let you finish.
No, it can be restored, and I've seen it restored in places, but there's multiple of them that we know you're not sorry. You're continuing to do this, and she feels like she love you, and she love you more than she love herself, and that's the issue.
And that's the issue right there. I love you more than I love myself, where I'm losing me in
to have you. And when I think about you, whoever you may be, what is it about you that makes me love you more than I love
myself? I don't want to lose myself in anybody. It's a fine line with your children, but I don't want to lose myself in another person, whereas I'm neglecting my own needs you know what I'm saying, and my needs are
or
being
my
neglected,
own
and I'm
peace.
just okay with it. And that's what I
Yeah.
mean by needs, because
Yeah.
peace is a need.
Yeah. My peace right now is so high and great that that's why I told you. I was like, girl, me and now I'll just be like, oh no, I can feel that energy a mile away.
And I told her I'm the man, so I'm visual. So I'll be like, oh, look at him.
But even if he's fine though, because I've seen, I see fine, attractive men weekly with good money, and I just be like, oh, no.
I'm doing acrobats in my head, okay?
Well, see, I used to be doing acrobats for real, so I'm trying not to be doing acrobats no more like that, okay? Because I was doing way too many acrobats, and then they weren't worth it, okay? So now I be like, oh, you a repellent for me because.
But yeah, I definitely it's something about knowing your worth and having standards and boundaries and being okay with walking away. And I know everybody, you know what I'm saying? All relationships are different, and hard passes, like how you said you decided with the infidelity where you walk away, because I'm not mad at people who deal with infidelity and stay. Because I've always said that I don't know if that would be a deal breaker for me.
You did say that before, and when I went through my situation, you did let me know, not let me know. You was like, hey, if you want to stay in this, I'm not going to judge you, and I believe you wouldn't. Like if I would have stayed to this day, I think you would have been completely treat me the same way. Not like she dumb and whatever. I believe you would have, saw the restoration in that and been a. But
I have really one hard thing, and I'm not really a judgy person. Like, I work through it, but a physical abuse is when I'm really a hard stop. Yeah. Like I cannot support this.
Because I think that if somebody is apologetic or really want to make it work, or my situation wasn't like that. I was blamed for it. I ain't even do nothing. I was blamed for it, and all these different things was said about me as a person. When things are said about me, and I know it's not true, and then that's when I had to realize my worth. Like, you know what? I know me. And who knows me better than me and God?
And another thing I want to say is, when you realize your worth, you show up as your best self.
Absolutely.
Then you attract better things. But it's also like when you are your best version of yourself, your life it changes. It changes.
Yeah, and my life has changed.
And I think accountability plays a big role too, because when I think about them little things that I was doing before, because again, I'm standing on, I ain't never had no relationship.
Oh my God.
But my baby daddy is the exception. And that was minimal.
I was about to say, like, girl,
because it was like a summertime fling, I feel like. But anyway,
you was more than a fling, sir.
Yeah, you were. But whatever. It's over. Gotta make sure I keep that clear. I lost my train of thought. No, I knew that was gonna happen.
I'm sorry, because I messed you up.
Yes.
You were saying,
what was I saying?
When we make these decisions. Oh no, you said you stand on, you ain't never been in a relationship when we.
Oh, accountability. Because I feel like a lot of times we always look at, well, what he's not doing or the other person. And again, we speaking as women, so we gonna say he. But I look back and I remember like not being as soft as I should have been.
Yeah, same.
Oh, and then I remember when I finally turned into the soft girl.
Yeah,
I was too soft. You know what I'm saying? I was pouring and I wasn't receiving.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, or the little bit that I was receiving, when I look at it now, it was just like, that was crumbs. Like, this should have been like I was in elementary school, where the person I'm dating bringing me a candy bar because they mama bought it for me.
Yeah. I can take accountability for who I was before. Like, I don't necessarily think I was soft. I was never baby boobay to nobody. But I do take accountability for, you know, who I was and knowing I could have been better. But I also believe that you're better when you love yourself, and you better when you actually like yourself and like the other person.
Definitely heavy on like the other person too.
Yeah, I think that
and I believe it's very important when it comes to liking that other person as a friend.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times we just jump into this from physical attraction or just whatever. Sometimes, because I'll be like, and I'm just gonna be real, because out of my little dating life, whatever we want to call it, I need to come up with a word for it.
Child, your dating life.
It ain't really dating. It was just some things. Out of them things I used to deal with, them little dusties, she would say, most of them I was not physically attracted to.
Really?
For real. It was like something like they might have had a little bit of swag or whatever, but it's very few that
so I had. What was the attraction?
It was just they liked me, and I was just like, okay, whatever. Or some it was a game because I knew it was other parties involved, so I wanted to win at the competition. And I had the majority was more competition driven. Yeah.
I wanted to say a name, but I'm not. I'm going to say when you were really younger.
You taking it back there? Oh, that was most definitely.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yes. I think back, and I used to be like, we would sometimes sit in silence.
I remember you saying that.
So how was this going to go somewhere when I don't even have nothing to say to you?
But you... At that time,
and I was
like
obsessed.
You was like I was about to say the word obsessed.
But I was obsessed with the situation and not the person.
Girl, shut up. What?
Yes. It's something about turning 40 and getting smart.
Okay? I never would have thought that. I would have always thought maybe that was your first love.
No, when I look back, it was most definitely not.
This went on for some years.
Yeah, it was a 10-year ordeal.
Oh,
it was a 10-year ordeal.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I could see it though when you say it's competition for sure.
Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all a secret. My son has this man's
name. I know that. That's why I was saying, like, what? I thought he was gonna be baby daddy. Okay. That makes sense though when you think about it.
But once I really went through learning Takesha, not the daughter, the oldest, you know what I'm saying, sibling, not Jordan's mom, because for so long I feel like that was the only character I knew, Jordan's mom. But once I really sat with myself and analyze, like now I probably spend too much time with myself.
Same.
It's just like, come on, bring some new characters in, because I told my friend the other day, because she was just like, she don't really think about dating. She's just really trying to learn herself. But you know, she's been divorced a few years. She's just not really living on her own outside of from with her kids. So I told her, I said, I can understand that. I was just like, but I've been on my healing journey for a long time. So I'm not even at the healing stage. I'm healed. Okay. I'm waiting for some more stuff to come on so I can start another healing journey. Because at this point, your girl she ain't got no bruises, nothing. She ready. Okay.
Listen,
I was telling her, I said, I can understand. And I said, but I've spent so much time with learning and diligently doing the work,
The work,
looking
yeah.
back and realizing, you know, where I made mistakes at and stuff. So at this point in my life, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm good, and I can see that now.
I don't
where
believe that a lot of people know what doing the work means. And I was at an outing recently, and I didn't even want to go to the outing. I was telling you about it. I didn't want to go to the place. But once I got there, I realized, oh, it was something more. And in that conversation, I learned that people don't know how to do the work, because there's absolutely no reason why you should be divorced from someone for like 10 years or more and you still arguing about the same thing.
Oh, absolutely not.
You know, I'm literally like, so, you know.
Should I make a workbook?
Listen, I was like, why are you still arguing about the same thing? Like, what? And that's what made me think about when you saying doing the work. Me doing the work, I've been doing the work now consistently for a couple of years, and there is no, I don't even care like to argue about anything now, because I've been like, everything always work out for me. I am not going to argue with you or anybody else. Everything always work out. So, and how it works out, because I've done and am doing the work on myself. So I think a lot of people don't know how to do the work, Takesha. Like,
and doing the work is scary. It's hard. It's not easy. It can be a tsunami because you have to admit your fault.
Yes.
That's why it's called shadow work, because you're facing that dark, you know, that dark side of you, that side that people don't, you know, and I've said this before, where it's just like people be like, that's the devil. And I'd be like, I know my demon is sitting right here.
Takesha, that's another thing the guy said about Beyonce. He said, y'all be calling her demonic and everything, but then y'all go watch the Housewives and all of that. What y'all think that is?
Yes.
He said, because she doing good work and y'all like, she demonic, or because she wore yellow, she this, she that, she a witch. Her eyes look funny because she got pretty eyes. He was like, but y'all go watch some mess and follow what some other celebrity who is messy and traumatic would do. And then, you know, so.
And they know all of those names, where it'd be like, if you not know A-lister, I don't know you.
Yeah, because I don't know any of them people.
Me either.
I don't know them. He like, you'll follow all of them and be like, he'll say, you call her demonic, then you'll go watch your favorite reality show and they arguing, they fighting. What how does that make sense? And I was like, wow. But she done the work. So she ain't bothered by.
Yeah.
Girl, and I meant to tell you the other day too, her mama did an interview because she got this book out. She had a brooch on. Guess what the brooch was?
What?
Evil eyes.
Woo, they probably was coming for her.
I was like, oh man, she and I read the comments. It was only one person who noticed it. I was like, they like, this whole family protected. Y'all ain't about to get us. Like, And that's how I feel. Like when you do the work, when you go deep within yourself and realize what you need to correct, that dark side of you, and it's levels to our darkness, and my dark side may not be like her dark side. You know, it just makes it brings that peace.
And the thing about it too, which is something that, you know, I realized, and we touched on this briefly earlier today, is also learning your triggers, you know, learning yourself, learning how, because we talk about the power of words, and the words start with thoughts, because you're in your head talking to yourself all day, and you can't tell me that you're not, because are you brain dead? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're thinking all day. So it took me all of these years to realize that my brain worked differently. You know, I believe that my mom knew, but probably didn't know terminology or to get it checked, but just
Yeah.
from the way that she talks to me. Because like now, I make this noise all the time, and I didn't think people could hear. And I remember my one friend, well into being Jordan's mom, would be like, "What is that noise? Why do you do that all the time?" But I was stimming.
Mm-hmm.
I still do it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I was just like, oh, it'd be something on my mind, or, whatever's going on. And that's what I say, because even like now that I know my youngest needs to be like, well, Titi, what you thinking about? And I'll be like, oh, I was doing it because but now that I know and I'm taking the time to learn myself.
You're doing the work.
Yes, we spend so much time trying to learn other people, trying to cater to them, to see what makes them happy, what you want to eat, what you like.
And that's why when a lot of people be saying, people got mentors or pastors, and they be like, my so and so said this, or my so and so. I have to figure out for me. I don't go by what somebody else said.
And I said we've had this before too, I believe, because I be like that too, where sometimes I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I get offended where I be like, I don't care what so and so said, okay? Because I know what I say. Me, okay? If you need a higher up to tell you about yourself, okay. And by higher up, I don't mean like, our Father who art in heaven.
Yes.
I mean
because he's the one who's going to tell me. He's the one who's already told me
he's
about
the one
myself.
who's already told me about myself. So my level is different, and I'm not knocking that, because what works for you works for you. But I also believe that everybody needs to take time to get in tune
with themselves. Yes.
Sit
with yourself.
Even me, as if I'm helping somebody, coaching them, I'm doing this for you to be able to use these tools on your own at some point. And I think we talked about this too before, where it's just like, yes, at some point they should kick your ass out of therapy, because if you still haven't figured out how to help yourself, it's a problem. I recently shared with someone and was just like, I'm going to be backing away from doing certain things because I need to take a moment, because at this stage in my life, as we're talking, I'm learning that being an empath for me is becoming overwhelming. That maybe my journey wasn't meant for me to open up my gift to so many people, because I haven't learned how to carry all of these emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just like, well, can she still share her dreams with me? And I was just like, of course, yeah, that's cool. I said, but you have the tools that you need to trust your intuition. Because essentially, Keisha, that's all I'm teaching people, is how to trust their intuition on your own, and to learn what all of these signs and stuff means for you personally. Because what it means for me may not be what it is for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you got to learn and take time with yourself. I'm not no damn guru. I just took the time. Pay attention and sit with it.
Yeah, I sit with it. I talk to God. I sit with it some more. I
definitely believe that we do need mentors.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because I felt like I was at a point where I needed one. God sent me to Arizona, dropped somebody in my lap, boom, bam. So I moved through that phase.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking that. But at some point, you gotta sit with yourself. If you're not spending any time with yourself, you're gonna always be looking for outsources.
Not scrolling,
to feed your soul.
Yeah, not scrolling, not talking to someone else. Just sitting.
Literally sitting with yourself.
I literally sit or lay in my bed and think on things and do work. Keisha, how could you have been better in this situation? Be honest with yourself. Take accountability for.
Yep, back to that word, accountability.
For my own weaknesses. And just like when I was complaining to you about the thing last week where I didn't want to go to this one place and everything. And then I realized, I was supposed to, even though one side of me was on the bougie side. I'm like, oh, I was meant to be in this place at this particular time. And you got to stop complaining, like take accountability, like I was wrong because he had a deeper meaning for me to be in this other place.
I had a short conversation with somebody, I believe it was yesterday, because she agreed to go to an event, and now that it's coming up, it's like dragging, and it has a lot of emotional things to go with it. But I was telling her, I was just like, sometimes changing the perception of it, it switches the whole thing. It switches the whole
It
thing.
does.
And then life is learned backwards. So if this event is on Friday, Saturday, whatever, by Monday, it'll be the revelation on, oh, this is why. Especially when a lot of times, and I don't think people realize this, when you agree to do something without thinking about it, you're in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you start thinking, like if you ask me and I instantly be like, oh yeah, this is already in alignment. It's when I start sit back and I start wondering, then I'm bringing in all those external forces in. But when you initially do something and you know you're supposed to do it without a shadow of a doubt, you're in alignment. If
That
anybody
makes
ever
sense.
wanted to know how alignment works, you know, but when you start, it can be afterwards, then that's when you're shifting your body.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but you was always in alignment. You was always supposed to do what you did. And that's why now look back, you see the revelations on why God set that up for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was like, man, I be trying to be intentional about my thoughts on things before I complain. And I don't always succeed with that. But now after that, I was like, oh, this was a moment I was not supposed to be complaining. It's just supposed to be like, go with it and see what it was about.
And you know what I wish too, and this is something else about like doing the work. When people get in that stage of complaining, what's the trigger behind it? Like what you did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And not saying that complaining is a bigger ordeal. Just like I told you, I'm like, oh, the gutter hanging. Like, to me, that
you didn't even complain. You just said it and kept on moving.
Because I know I'm a homeowner.
Yeah. The part comes with it.
It comes with it.
Yeah.
You know, and the little bit of irritation in me is because where is my man at? Sir?
Listen, and that's when I call my Mr. Hopper. I don't even think about the man. I be like, Mr. Hopper.
And see, I be thinking about the man because I'm 20 years in. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't never had the man for nothing other than my daddy. And now I be like, because my first thought usually would be like, I gotta call my daddy. But now I want him to rest. I want him to meet my husband. I want him to know that I'm gonna be taken care of. Okay? he done did his role.
I don't think that your dad is worried about you in that way. I think I know what you're saying.
Keisha, he not. Because you know what? I'm his son. So he know I'm going.
That's all I say. I don't think that he is ever.
It's me worried about it because I want to be the daughter.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he worried about you in that way. Like I want to make sure somebody there to take care. I think that he
like
knows.
She can take care of herself.
I think he knows.
I don't wanna. I'm releasing my rights, okay, my guardianship to future husband.
Over yourself.
Yes, future husband. I release. We coming on a close. Okay.
You start release guardianship to future husband. Yes. Hey, listen.
Yes.
I released guardianship and I still was taking care of myself. So
see, but that's what I'm saying. But now at this point, you know what you want.
Absolutely.
If it comes,
yeah. If it comes.
And same. If it come to me, I know exactly what I want. I know what I want maybe too well. So I often wonder if that's why it's the delay.
And that's what the lady said that when you went to Arizona, y'all talked about that a little bit.
Oh, she did tell me that.
I think you be forgetting that.
She did.
I think you be forgetting that part of it.
I do forget that
because that's the way your fleshy part come in.
Yeah.
You be forgetting what she said.
Forgetting that.
Yeah.
Okay. She did tell me that.
She literally told you that though. Not that we have to settle for less. But in reality, what we would like, and I'm saying we, but I'm talking to you. How many?
Because I got mine down to a T.
I know you do. But in reality, what does that look like? And in today's times, what does that person come with? Are they because you want somebody rich.
Yeah. Not substantial.
Rich. Not substantial, rich. And how many rich people do we meet? You know what I'm saying? The person you want is rich. The person you really want is rich, which is why every time you talk about your husband, you say the word future husband, because that person is rich.
This person is in my future. He's my future husband. So that's why I say future husband.
And I'm not saying it's impossible to meet somebody rich, but what does that look like? What does it come with? Because that person not only got to be rich, they got to be healed.
Yes. And that's the part.
That part. And a lot of rich people that we see, you can feel their energy and know that they're not healed. They got to be somebody that's rich and healed.
I need the male version of Beyoncé. Jesus send them. Okay. Signed, sealed, delivered in the universe. There we go. Boom. Future husband. Okay. Okay.
Listen.
I got a crush on Jeezy still too, though.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. You watching it?
He not healed. I'm sorry, Jeezy. He not healed.
We coming on the close.
He not healed, or his situation with
Takesha Jenkins.
He not healed. If he was healed, and it's not hard to meet him. I mean, he within arm's reach of us.
Exactly.
So go ahead and heal with Jeezy,
please.
He probably see this and like, what you mean they healed, girl?
Come on the show. Let's talk about it.
Show us you healed, okay? Show us and come meet my friend. We want y'all to like, listen, subscribe, share. Let us know in the comments what you think about our conversation.
Let me show a little leg.
We'll see y'all next week.